All right, what's going on, guys? No crazy fancy intro today. There's just a couple things that are going on with Bitcoin that I want to take a look at, a couple patterns that I noticed. So let's go ahead and get into it. As you all know, we've had this major, really long 3-month ascending channel here. And what we're doing now is we're kind of floating around in this area of really, really major supply that we have going on here. This has been a really tough level for us to break over the past 2 months. So we're hoping here in April, maybe we can pop above here and start breaking to new highs. Now, on the daily chart, there are a couple things that I am watching. I'm watching for weakness in the MACD here, which is curling to the downside. It is in bullish territory, so it's nothing to be worried about yet. I am worried about how trashy the volume is for this entire pump. There's virtually no big volume here like we've seen in our other pumps. So I'm watching the volume very, very closely on the daily chart. And I'm also watching our RSI very closely as well, just monitoring it pretty much just once a day to kind of see how things are going, right? So why am I watching the RSI? Well, if we break this high and we make closes above 61,770 and we start seeing a daily close above there, our RSI really needs to be breaking its previous high up here at about 72. We need to see 73 or more. Otherwise, that would be some bearish divergence forming. So we don't want bearish divergence up here, right? If we start seeing that, it'll be the same situation like, we saw with these two, bearish divergence, huge retrace between these two, bearish divergence, big retrace. So there's no reason to think that that couldn't happen again. Obviously, healthy retraces like this along the way in this kind of price territory up here is really healthy for Bitcoin. So those are the things that I am going to be watching. Now, if you can see, there's these two other little trend lines here that I have. This is another pattern that's starting to form that I'm watching very closely. We are starting to form a rising wedge here, with the top of it basically being our median line of the ascending channel at about 65,000. So that's another thing that I'm watching for. Obviously breaking above this, super bullish, breaking upwards out of a rising wedge, incredibly bullish. We saw that happen previously already. So again, it's definitely something that can happen, and it's something that I'm watching. However, there is that new level of resistance up here with another trend line that I am taking into account once we start reaching that price territory. So volume and these trend lines that I have here with this channel, those are basically the main things that I'm going to be watching on our daily chart. In terms of Ichimoku, there really isn't too much to say. We've got our Tenkan-sen here at 56.1. 50 EMA is at 52.15. Kijun-sen is down around the top of our cloud around 47.3. Those would be pretty significant drops in price. You're talking almost $15,000 at this point to tip the top of the cloud, which is a very big possibility if we don't start seeing some volume. All right, so coming down to our 4-hour chart, it's pretty much the same deal. We're above all of our Ichimoku indicators. Kijun-sen is at 58.5. 50 EMA is at 57.6. And then you've got your 100 EMA at 56.6 and the Kijun-sen line way down here at 55.25. So there's not, obviously those are all major levels of resistance. On the higher timeframes like this, that's where I would be placing spot bids and stuff like that. If it's showing weakness, which honestly, in my opinion, it's really starting to show weakness here. Again, even on this lower time frame, just completely diminishing volume. I mean, the volume started dying off like halfway through this uptrend. That was why I took profit initially on my long from down here at 51.8. That's why I took profit up here. The volume was just really, really dropping off. Somehow we're still making a move higher with virtually no volume here on our 4-hour chart. The indicator here, I mean, they're pretty much flat. the RSI is basically just sitting in bullish territory, but they've been moving flat pretty much throughout this entire half of this uptrend here. So that is a little concerning. All right. So as you all know, we broke out of this major, descending channel here, which is basically just a big bull flag. And we did break to the upside after having a bullish retest here at about 55.3K. So as I mentioned before, the RSI, it is sitting in bullish territory, and we are seeing just slight bearish divergence here, making lower highs on the RSI and higher highs in price. So that's another thing that I'm watching on this 4-hour chart very closely. This is something where we've basically double tapped our high here. So this is looking right now like it could potentially be a double top. 1 hour time frame for Ichimoku Cloud. We're basically just using our Tenkan-sen and our 50 EMA right now as a pretty strong support. This has been something that's been tested a lot more recently in the last 2 or 3 days or so. So this is, again, something that I'm watching. Levels of support and or resistance, they get weaker and weaker the more that they're tested. So these levels, if we start seeing closes below these again, that's when I'm going to be proceeding with great caution. In terms of trying to be getting into long positions. If we start seeing significant closes like this again, or if we get a candle like this to the downside over here, that's, a couple $2,000-$3,000, I would definitely be cutting longs and just waiting until lower and waiting until we start seeing more volume, bullish volume coming into the market. So the main thing that I want to direct your attention to is we've kind of got these two ranges right on top of each other, right? So we had this one range before, which went back way back here into maybe the second week of March. So we had this first range here, and obviously we broke down from that. What I'm starting to notice is that we've actually got a pattern forming with these two ranges, and it has to do with our V-shaped recovery that we've had. So this entire thing is one big V. And what's happened is we kind of had a fractal play out in this in these two top portions here. So you can see we had an SFP here, which is a swing failure pattern. Okay, we got the same thing here again and popped up to the upside. And then we started pushing higher before we rejected here again. It is a good possibility that something like that occurs again. So what am I looking for in terms of validation of this? Well, the first thing is we've just now today, we've lost our 56 level. We weren't able to hold above the 56 mark on our RSI. That signals a little bit of weakness, especially if we fall below the 50 mark. So, and we pretty much had the same thing happen over here. We were kind of floating around that 56 mark. And then once it finally broke down, it broke down for good. And then that was pretty much it. We kept rejecting off of that 56 mark again as we kept pushing lower. We did have that one breakout to the top side, which was a massive liquidity grab before it really plummeted and had a huge shakeout. Something like this is possible to be happening again, but why don't we take a look at the volume, right? So in general, over here, there was actually more volume than what we're seeing now. At least some of these volume bars over here, they were kind of popping up above this black dotted line that I have, which for me on this volume indicator is basically, if there's volume bars below that, it's basically like a no trade zone. The volume here all through this is looking pretty similar to the volume that we were getting for all of this stuff. We had, like one little volume bar pop, one or two for this last leg up that we had. And then it really, really started completely tapering off before bearish volume started taking advantage of that and started suppressing the price lower. Now, obviously on the macro charts, I'm still super bullish. We would have to see some very, very massive, notable levels of support breaking for me to actually be saying, okay, yeah, the macro trend has changed. We're bearish now, blah, blah, blah. I don't see that happening anytime soon. However, I do see probably a larger consolidation relatively in the short to midterm. It's possible maybe we get one more leg up as a blow off top. Maybe like call it 60K or something up here, but I really doubt that we're going to be breaking through this next all-time high resistance at 62. I really doubt that we're going to be breaking through that on the first try. Like we hit that all-time high. We haven't even retested that yet. I think we're due for a retest of that before, and a retrace before finally breaking out above it. But we've got to start flipping some of these levels up here. This top zone that we have up here, mainly this line that I have at 60K. 60K needs to be flipped into support in order for that to get retested. Seeing closes above that, in the general scheme of things, we're really close, say about $1,000, actually less. It's really only $700. So it's absolutely possible for us to be doing that. However, right now, this volume, it's just kind of got me a little worried here that the volume has been so bad for so long. Like this one pop that we had in price here, that's pretty much all we've had for, I don't know, about 3 days or so. There's just been really, really low volume for 3 or 4 days here. This is the range that I'm going to be watching very, very closely, especially these bigger zones in here. Those are very key levels of support and resistance that I'm going to be watching closely, probably until next week. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for today. Just my thoughts on Bitcoin. It was a little too long to put all of that into a 90-second analysis, so I thought I'd just give you guys a quick little 10-minute update on where I think Bitcoin is and just kind of the situation that it's in with volume, support and resistance, and all that good stuff. Again, make sure you check out all the links in the description below. There's some really good stuff in there, including tools that I use on a daily basis to be trading, along with my Telegram group, Twitter, all of that good stuff if you guys need to reach out to me in any way. I'm going to have a lot of big updates coming later on in April as I'm building my brand and coming out with some new products that I'm going to be offering to you guys that I'm really, really excited about. So more information on that later. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and until Monday, happy trading.